ever lost your mind? I have. Right now, actually. So I leave for a trip to Shetland in T-minus roughly a little less than 20 days? 20 days? No. I leave August 19th, so as of tomorrow, which is August 1st, it will be 19 days until, so technically today is, we still have a little bit of time. So I've got 20 days, and I've been frantically making things to wear on this trip, seeing as I live in California, and this is a golden opportunity of being in Shetland to wear beautiful knitwear. So I've just finished this sweater, which was a labor of love. I had this sweater like probably 70% done, and then I had to rip it out completely and remake it in a larger size, which beyond that, I have a linen blouse that I've started. Now the linen blouse is probably half a day away from being done. We're just doing some seam binding stuff, finishing off the cuffs. I've got one more buttonhole to put in one of the cuffs. Beyond that, I've been looking at, should I start another project? But the problem is I've already got another project that is also supposed to be done for this trip, which is the Maryland sweater that I'm doing. I'm using the pattern from Squid School, but I'm making her sort of Marilyn Monroe sweater. But I screwed up one of the arms, so I'm a little bit behind. I've got the whole torso done, the neckline's done, I'm just doing the arms now. I'm looking for something that is in between a sweater and not wearing a sweater. Enter sweater vest into the chat, and not just a sweater vest, a fair-isle sweater vest, because we're going to Shetland. I'm doing Susan Crawford's Maggie patterning. However, can we finish it in time is the question. We're gonna find out. So basically what I'm looking at now is I need to buy anything that is going to be like hardware related, Notion related right now, because if it's gonna ship, it needs to have enough time to get here before I leave in 19 days, effectively. And those aren't all business days. So beyond that, I found the perfect buttons on Etsy. On these beautiful check glass buttons, and they were green and they were stunning, but they come from the UK. And the problem is they want $17 in shipping for 12 buttons. No. So I need something that ships from the US that is a dark glass button or some alternative. I'm gonna get as much done as I can tonight. It is 8:05 p.m. California time, and I'm gonna knit as much as I can. I am full of angst or whatever it is. I have a lot of it right now. I am 1.75 inches into the rib. I've been working on this for hours. I know the minute I change to the size 2s, it will be better, but this may break me. 'Twas too much. No, I'm kidding. We will not be broken by this. However, I'm calculating that I'm doing about a half an inch per 45 minutes because I'm doing 265 stitches, which actually, I can actually show you now. So there we go. I just want to get to the fun part. Pretty please. Is that too much to ask? Useless. This is, okay. As of 3 minutes ago, I realized that 3 days of work, it went to I have to frog, meaning to rip out 3 days of ribbing because I thought you were telling me to do a 3-inch rib. No. It was a moss stitch, which means I just did 3 inches of ribbing on size 1 needles for 265 stitches for 3 days, wasting 3 of 19 days. 17 days. Really 16, but we're not talking about it. I just broke a needle. Oh my god. Oh my god. And as you can see, it's bad. It's there we go. It's pretty bad. It snapped cleanly in 2. This vest is actually way more trouble than I thought it was gonna be. and salutations, my fine furry friends. Where the hell did that come from? Alrighty, well, on that note, we have done this much so far now. This is the opening from where I was originally doing this flat. And then I added my steek stitches here. For those of you who don't know, steeks are where you knit a piece with extra involved, and then at the end you stitch or you secure these sides in some way and you cut it up the middle. That way both sides stay the same even tension, but without having to keep knitting it flat. A lot of times you get a more even distribution of yarn, slash when you, if you work with color work, you know that these carryovers on the back, if you work them too tightly, there can be lots of gapping issues or stuff gets really bunched up too tight. So by doing this in the round, you prevent a lot of that from happening. So this is my front. I will be sewing it along these lines at the very end, and I will steek it and I will cut it up the center, and that'll be my center front. And then I'll pick up the stitches for the lovely sort of moss stitched button band. But I wanted to show you guys sort of what's going on. This has gone way faster. I've done all of this basically in a day and a half because I was able to move up onto the size 2s, not to mention, I know a lot of people don't see it as this, but for me, color work really is one of my strong suits. I find it very calming and I find I'm really fast at it. So I've been able to make some rapid progress. Now the chart actually is only this big. I sort of, with the amount of time I was able to make up, have gotten back on track. Update time. Well, we are roughly 10 days out from having to leave, and I've got to say, it's a little bit shaky here because I'm not using a tripod. I've just finished all of the knitting bits on this, other than the collar, center front collar with the button band, and of course the armbands, which, as you can see, we've sort of done our preparation work here to steek these and these, and we've kept some extra stitches on the side here and on the side here for the underarms. As you can see, I've just stitched together the tops of the shoulders using a 3-needle bind off, and that's really just keeps it very, very seamless, especially once it's pressed or blocked out. I've tried to, as you can see, match up these triangles from the back shoulder and the front shoulder as much as I possibly can. But again, when it's knitted around, it's not always going to be perfect. You have more control over that if the piece is knitted flat. But yeah, it's really, really beautiful. I'm very, very pleased with it. It's a little bit wrinkly, but because of the shape it's in right now, I'm not going to be blocking it. I'm going to actually be ironing it. I'm going to be steaming and pressing it on a lowish heat. Some people have varied opinions on whether or not you should press wool or not. I don't really have a problem with it. Just a word of caution though, if you do decide to press wool, you should make sure that there is no acrylic in it, no superwashing, no plastic. This really only works if you are actually using perfectly pure virgin wool or pretty close to it. What we've got here is we have the steeking lines that I've done here, and what you can see is that I've stitched in between, or as close as I can, these middle stitches to secure any unraveling bits. All of the, on the inside, all of the ends I've already woven in, and this will just keep everything right in place. So then right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut from here all the way straight up through that middle part, and then we're going to very carefully from here, which is the border of the actual pattern, we're going to pick up all of the stitches for the neckline, including these ones that were left on the back on the needle. So I think that's what we're gonna get going. This is the scary part. Ooh, that was the most stressful 30 seconds I've had in a long time. But as you can see, now it's sort of curved up. That's what we got. I've got this all on my ironing board. I'm going to press it flat, and I'm going to turn these, see if I can do this, these edges under and see if I can't get them to stick that way and not unravel while I cast on the other stitches. Good morning, good morning. So I've just sort of marked out my buttonholes here. I've done all of this last night, and I felted it in a little bit from a tip that
my friend Steph gave me about, fair-isled steeking. A lot of times you can't really fold it under without making that sort of, I want to call it bump or ridge. So I'm not going to stitch it over, and I'm going to felt it in. But I just did a little preliminary one. But right now I've got all of my little markers roughly 1.5 inches apart, which is about 9 stitches. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit around this next time to this point. And just before the marker, I'm going to cast off 2 stitches. And then on my next turn, I'm going to add them back, and that'll create my little buttonholes. Now this sweater vest is supposed to actually have punch-in, like hammer-in snaps, and then you sew buttons over it. But I prefer to use actual buttons for my vest. I don't really enjoy putting in snaps, so I've just marked out where I'm going to make my buttonhole.
The armhole is steeked. I'm about 2 rounds off of doing the actual sort of bind off for the first armhole, and then I got to repeat the process and do the other armhole. It's looking really good. I am really, really happy with the progress that I've made, but I've only got 8 days left, really, and I'm struggling to see how everything's gonna get done in time and for me to have enough time to edit this and put it out before I go to Scotland. So, yeah, I think we're gonna have a nice cozy night in, lovely Saturday, and try to finish up as much of this as we can today, meaning by tomorrow we should be finishing and moving on to the other 2 projects so that we get to have those on the trip as well. I might have been a little more ambitious than I should have been, but I'm feeling good. No more fuck-ups since the beginning. So, yeah. So with the overall finishing, I think it's going to be okay just because I've got so much done on this one already. I think I can finish the second one in time. And I'm not going to block this first one until there is the second one fully made up, so I can block them together because I'm going to measure them out to make sure they match perfectly. Anyway, basically, I am not going to have that ready for Scotland, nor am I really up to showing what it looks like on the arms I hold. The arm holes are slightly too low, and it's causing the shoulders to ride up the minute I move my arms. It's something I'm coming to terms with right now is that it's not working out. It's a real kick in the ass, is the way I'm gonna say it. But it will not be ready for Scotland, and I'm not going to include it in the final reveal of this because it's not done. Kind of lost right now. I'm really proud of myself for completing that vest. I know the shirt will be done and it'll be beautiful. And hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But it is devastating when you realize that things aren't working out the way you hoped. And you don't exactly know what went wrong. Grappling with my own, I don't want to say shortcomings, but I think that might be the most accurate word. One thing that I would say I take away from working with linen for the first time is that it is very easily frayed. So every single seam on the inside of this shirt had to be overcast or French seamed or somehow bound off so that it wouldn't start fraying over time once I start washing it and wearing it. I will say though, I mean, California is incredibly hot and I feel totally fine in this. Like I could walk on my balcony, sit on my balcony, go out for the day, not have to worry about getting sunburned, but it's also really breathable because it is a natural fiber. I think I'm really gonna love wearing this in Shetland. It was a really want/need, but more need, we're going to say, to have a beautiful linen shirt in Scotland and in Shetland, just because I want to live my non-historically accurate but somewhat inspired Outlander dreams. I mean, I already dated an Irishman, so we're halfway there. But basically, I'm really loving the sort of whole concept of this shirt. I really like that it's really flattering. Next up, we have the vest. So basically, this vest was a bad, somewhat, I think, ADHD inspired, even though I don't have ADHD. I have a friend who has ADHD and I think it rubs off on me sometimes. A bad decision to try to make an extra thing for this trip. I really wanted it to go with this shirt, and I haven't actually tried it on yet with the shirt, other than on my mannequin. I tried it on with the mannequin, it looks pretty good, but it wasn't. Neither piece was fully finished. That's wrong. Oh my god, this is so all creatures great and small. I am loving this! I like that the collar of this shirt is lining up with the top points of the sweater vest, so I still get, you know, the poofy sleeves coming out here. This lines up and it doesn't crush the collar. And the fact that I made the sweater vest essentially in a week is really, I think, a big accomplishment for me. I'm really loving all of the patterning and the fact that these are all Shetland original motifs, and the fact that it's going to be worn in Shetland for the first time, I think is just really special. The other one that is going to be getting a look in today is this sweater, which is from, what was it, Lane magazine. It is a Susan Crawford pattern, and I saw it when I went to her workshop in 2023, and oh my god, I fell in love with it. Now, I had a little bit of problem. I will warn you though, if you're going to use certain English patterns, sometimes they don't allow for ease and for extra, you know, room in their pieces. So if you say you have a size 36 inch pattern, normally for most American patterns you say, oh, I'm a 36 inch bust, I'll go for the 36 inch pattern. No, you want to go for like the 38 to 42 inch pattern because that'll give you the sort of flowy ease that you want to make the sweater look natural. I did not realize that, so this is the sweater that I kind of ended up re-knitting almost in its entirety, but I can't get far enough back. It goes really long, but I really wanted this sort of late 1920s, early to mid 1930s sort of loungewear style, and it does have a belt, which it makes it all the more cute, but I wanted something that was very slouchy and cozy, but also elegant. So it's sort of from the back there. Do a little knot. Can I get up high enough? I'm very short. There we go. I'm on my tiptoes, but we can get it. But it has this most glorious shawl collar. It is all completely houndstooth, and it's one of the coziest things I've ever made. The other thing I really loved was this pattern had pockets, and you can see, I have pockets! Now, I did not follow the original pattern for the pockets in the pattern. I actually ended up making my own pockets, drafting them, and then putting them in fabric, just because I wanted something that wasn't going to stretch if I put my phone in there. Honey, I can see you. Everyone say hello to my boyfriend. Why?
Oh, that's so funny, bro. Makes good.
The number of times I actually shoot a reveal shot is the time he decides to do dishes during the day. God damn it. But I just wanted to show this off, as well as the vest and the blouse, because These are the 3 most recently finished pieces that will be coming with me on Monday.